Okay, part 2 of our study guide is all about using the number line to find the opposite of values. So we're going to be looking at number 7. It says place the following points on the number line below. Place being the operative word, which means we're also going to be not only finding the answer, but also putting them on the number line. The opposite of 7 is -7, and that number would be right here, -7. The opposite of 0 is 0. There is no opposite of 0. So 0, the opposite of 0 is just 0. Letter B says the opposite of -3. Well, -3 would be here, so the opposite of -3 would be +3, which makes our answer right here. Actually, that's B. This one should have been C. I'm so sorry. And then letter D, the opposite of -1. Well, if -1 is here, the opposite of -1 would be a +1. So that means D is going to go right here. Just remember that every number has an opposite. If it's one thing on one side of 0, it's going to be the opposite on the other side of 0. But now we're looking at number 8. It says Mark and Isabel make a deposit of $35 and a withdrawal of $35 from the same account. Describe what 0 represents in this situation. So we are, I know that because we're talking about opposite situations, that 0 is going to be in the middle. Now Mark and Isabel make a deposit of $35 and a withdrawal. Remember that deposit means we're going to be adding to our bank account. Withdrawal means we're going to be taking away from our bank account. So if I want to deposit $35, I'm going this way. Deposit $35. If I withdraw $35, we're taking it out of our account. So 0 could mean one of two things. It could mean that there is no change in the account, because if you take away $35 and then put $35 right back in, then there's no change in the account. Or what it could represent is how much the account started with. So how much the account started with. And then number 9, we have place the following points on the number line below. You notice it's an open number line, which means there are no positive, negatives, there are no zeros not on there, and there's no like hash marks to tell us where numbers go. But I already see that on letter C that I'm going to be putting 0 on the number line, and sometimes when we're talking about opposites of numbers, we want 0 to be in the middle so that we can talk about the opposite. So let's look at B and D really quick. We have the opposite of 5. So let's say 5 was right here. Well, the opposite of 5 would be the same distance away from 0. We would have -5. The opposite of 5 is -5. And then it says the opposite of -6. So if I put -6 to the left of -5, because remember we count backwards on the negative side of the number line, so -6 is actually to the left of -5. Then it would be to the right of +5. 6 would be to the right. So if you think of the 0 as being the mirror, whatever's happening on the right side is going to happen the exact same way on the left side, but the opposite. So if I go 5, 6, then the opposite would be going -6, -5. So now that we're done with B and D, we're going to look at A. It says the opposite of 11. I want to start with this phrase right here. The opposite of -11 is +11. Positive 11 would probably be about right here. It's not perfect, but it's close. And then if I want the opposite of the opposite of, so I want the opposite now of 11, which would be -11, which would be about the same place on the other side of the number line. Just remember, every number has an opposite. However far it is away from 0 on the right side, it's the same distance on the left side. I hope this helps, and stay tuned for part 3.